And Beckham saw Sullivan off his line. Oh!
This is a private member's bar.
That is absolutely phenomenal.
Exclusively for the supporters of the greatest football team in the world.
Cleared, Giggs with a shot. Sheringham!
Manchester United.
Beckham into Sheringham. And Solskjaer has won it!
All right, welcome to the first Biggie and Smallz Podcast, your essential podcast for all things Manchester United. I'm Keith, but around these parts of the wood, you can call me Smalls. That's D. You can call him Biggie. Together, we're going to tackle everything that's the heartbeat of the Red Devils. It's hard to be a Red Devils fan today these days, right, D?
Oh, definitely, without a doubt.
I mean, I don't even know where to begin with the Bournemouth match. I mean, my God, it was just atrocious all around. I mean, I can tell you some of the things I jotted down, and then we can just go through it. I mean, first of all, the 0 clean sheets in the last 9 away matches. I mean, Jesus Christ, how do you win a match like that?
That's the thing. We're not United. Won't not with the again. The thing is, everyone keeps blaming like the defense, blaming injuries, blaming everything. Like every top team has injuries now at this point, which is just like Liverpool's went through their huge injury spell with like TAA, Trent Alexander-Arnold wasn't playing for a while, and then you had Robertson coming back from injury. They had to start Bradley playing right back and stuff. So United just like the fact they're playing Wan-Bissaka left back and Dalot right back, and just it's always a switching match. So when it comes to centre backs, it's just been a bit of a disaster. But the tactics aren't helping. Like you can clearly see that. Like that's why there's no clean sheets. That's why they're facing like record amount of shots. I think.
Yeah. I mean,
what was it? Chelsea had 31.
It's like 20 plus shots that Onana's been getting hit with. It's like I don't care who you are. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. Eventually, something's gonna go in.
Exactly. Like just the stats alone. Like statistically speaking, like there has to be at least 1 or 2 goals going in when you're facing 25 plus shots every single match. So, the away form is concerning. The home form is just as concerning. Like the lack of leadership, the mental breakdown from winning positions at 85th minute and later too is also just you could have an endless list of things that Eric Ten Hag has to talk about at this point. There's
Exactly.
There's no fixing it. There's no one fix.
No, it's you basically need a complete overhaul. It's like you're almost like. I mean, you never want to root for your team to lose, but it's like I almost want them to get knocked out of the FA Cup this weekend, just so I was like, all right, well, ETH isn't going to be back,
Exactly. You hate to think that way, but no, it's nice to always get the final. It's nice to be able to get to Wembley at some point in the season. Obviously, they missed out in the defending the League Cup in traumatic fashion when Newcastle went into Old Trafford and absolutely demolished them. But then you've got that big old shadow from the blue side of Manchester that's going to be playing Chelsea. So if it's going to be if it's going to be a Manchester derby again, I think a final. I think it's going to be rinse and repeat from last season. United had a chance to stop the blue side from getting the treble, and they faltered.
Yeah. I mean, it's a reoccurring theme. I mean, even if they were to win the FA Cup, I don't even think I want Ten Hag back. Do you?
I think it's the deja vu Dutch at this point. The last Dutch manager that won the FA Cup was Louis van Gaal, and he won it. Beat Crystal Palace. He was sacked within like a few days after that. And I think Ten Hag might be the exact same thing. Like he might be literally looking down the barrel of the gun. This is going to, especially now that Murtaugh's gone. No, the director
that was basically
football operations.
Yeah, none of them are really making a decision on transfer day, what they want to do, or who wants to stay or whatever. I mean, not that it really matters to me as far as I'm concerned. I can't really think of too many players that I'd even would want to keep on this team. What about you?
The only two that stand out to me is Garnacho and Manny. That's it. Two academy products.
Yeah.
And the United team.
Brought him up as what's his face? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you out. What were you saying?
Garnacho.
No,
I
was just going to say, Mano, they were just, I think they're going to up his contract as of the next couple days or whatever.
They would have to. That's the kind of, he's a young kid, 18. and he's bossing the midfield for United. So it's the kind of player you want to build your actual team around. And then Garnacho, back to the Bournemouth match. I was having sidebar conversations with a lot of people, especially like Sean Barr being one of them, that we were just saying how United were getting absolutely demolished down Bournemouth's left side, United's right side, and but it was the point where the tactics just aren't working for the players. Like, you've got Garnacho expecting to run up and down the wing. I get it. No, players need to put a shift in both defensively and offensively, but they're at risk now of it just looks clueless. It looks like 11
Yeah,
players that were just picked randomly and said, go on a pitch and kick a ball around and see what happens.
it was like probably watching one of your daughter's weekend matches. Just follow the ball, kick it and follow the ball.
Well, at least that's what it seemed like. It really did. It was so, and it's just the tactics that started there. Like, the Casemiro was unbelievable last season, but this season he's been found out. I think Ten Hag's tactics were to try to have him on an island, being the holding midfielder, and it's not working. He doesn't have the legs anymore. He looks like he looks like every time he runs that midfield, it looks like he's running in sand. And then you can just see that Ten Hag prides himself in this press that he has, and it's not working because you've got one player pressing. Like Bruno, there's no trigger for the team. Like, if you watch the press masters like that, like the Liverpool, for example, when if you see Mo Salah pressing the left back of the opposing team, you can see that's literally the trigger for Nunez to pinch in. You've got what's his name plays out wide from Diaz and does the same thing. Everybody starts pressing because everyone knows their role. Where it just seems that you see one player running crazy like Bruno, just run like a headless chicken to press a play. And he was doing a lot in Bournemouth, and it was just throwing the whole shape off.
Yeah. I mean, there's no identity with this team whatsoever. It's just like they're just running around. Nobody really know it, or it's like it's not a team. It's a bunch of individuals. That's how I view it, and they're not playing together. Am I wrong or am I right by that?
No, you're 100% right. When you think about it, look at Bournemouth and like what the transfer dealings they've had, and obviously the wage structure, it's probably nothing like United's. United, I think, leads the league in the wage structure. They're paying players way over market. No, not only market transfer fees, but also way over market on their salaries. Like Marcus Rashford being one of them. I know he's an easy target right now, but he just seems completely disinterested in playing.
I don't even know if he wants to be there. But I'm not even sure other clubs really want him. He just got rebuffed by was it? It was a German team. I thought. I'm drawing a blank on it. I thought, right? Oh, you there?
Yeah, no.
All right, you cut out for a second. No, I was just saying, yeah, it doesn't really seem like many players even or teams want Rashford right now. So I don't really know what to make of him right now. I mean, I know he had that little nice post in the Players Tribune or whatever it was, but I mean, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. He's just totally disinterested. When I watch this team, there's nobody. If I was an opposing team, I don't know if I really am scared of it. Like who, is like you make a game plan about that one star player or whatever it is. I don't know who we have that has that. How do you feel about that?
That's the fact. So that's one of the fear factors that like has gone from United over the last decade since Ferguson retired, was that United had this fear factor where teams set up to play against United. They like literally thought more about what's United going to do rather than what they're going to do. Where teams now have completely reversed it. They're not worried about United. They're more concerned about how well they're going to play, how well they're going to implement their tactics, and how well the philosophy of their manager. So it's no more fear factor. They're not prepping for United. They're prepping to make sure that they're doing their job. And you can see it where against Bournemouth, you could clearly see Bournemouth had a plan. Bournemouth were going to attack the wing. Solanke was going to come through the middle. He was going to bully everyone that got in front of him. And that's how they got their first goal. I didn't like the fact that Garnacho was the scapegoat. Ten Hag he claims he has no favourites, but you can clearly see he has favourites. Garnacho has scored, he's been very influential this season. Like, granted, he's not he's he's
Hmm.
not the next Cristiano Ronaldo or anything by that, but he can definitely get to that standpoint. But there's all these rumblings now that he was hooked off at halftime for lack of effort. But my mindset's like,
Lack of
okay,
effort.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, well,
And then he also got rebuked after for liking the social media post or whatever. It
yeah,
almost kind of
Goldbridge,
reminded me a little bit of the whole Jadon Sancho crap
exactly.
from earlier in the season.
Yeah, it stays up again with that. But like, it's like Goldbridge came out and said that he defended Garnacho, and the fact that Ten Hag came out and said he pulled Garnacho off for lack of effort. But I don't know if you can call Garnacho out on that. I don't understand how he can't do the same to Rashford, or he can't do the same to any other player that doesn't put a shift in. Because it's too many times now.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like hey, you look at Rashford and he's just, he doesn't meet the eye test. It's like I'm watching it. All right, physically you're there. I don't know really what he's doing. So it's like if anyone, get into him. I don't. Maybe is it because he's an English player and he's on the national team and they want to get him ready for the Euros this year?
geez, at this rate, I don't even think he starts for England. He'd be very lucky to make the bench for England, and that's saying something. Phil Foden starts over him.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. He
Palmer
wouldn't be
starts
on
over
my
him.
team. I know that.
Like, I think right now the best analogy I can think is like Marcus Rashford's just a Manchester version of Raheem Sterling. Like, just they peaked at a certain time, and now they're struggling for form. And instead of pulling his socks up and getting on it and really putting a shift in the training, making sure be a good role model for the younger players coming up, he's sort of just he's down in tools. And that this is a rinse and repeat. The United's been doing this now for 10 years, and the performances on the
Yeah.
pitch are seeing that. And no, they can blame the Glazers, they can blame everything, but at the end of the day, like, the Glazers aren't the ones out there kicking the ball on the pitch, the players are, and granted they can hold them accountable, but we'll see what happens, like, with this new
No, I
director of
don't think.
football
I
supposed to be
mean,
coming in.
yeah, the Glazer. I mean, everyone shares a little bit of blame or a lot of different blame. There's a lot to go around. Um, I think that's a good segue to get into the next topic. You sent me I thought, a really good article from the Manchester Evening News about basically it's almost like a lost decade, and just how atrocious we've been in the transfer window, and it's really frightening, man. It's like ever since Ferguson left, it's just like, I think we have a WhatsApp chat, and I think one of the things at least I know I've always said, it's like, who the hell's running the ship? It's like I feel like we just overspend for names, and there's no thought or consideration about how they're gonna fit into the tactics of the team, of the manager, personality in the locker room, all these different things. I don't know. I feel like a broken record at this point. What about you?
Ah, 100%, I agree with you. This is, like, we've watched it now for going on, 11 years now since Ferguson retired, and I think a lot of people seem to think Ferguson was the main sort of glue or the catalyst that kept United successful. But one of the big things that a lot of people don't realize is that Ferguson had a very good right hand man in David Gill. David Gill was also left and took a big job at the Football Association. I think he was part of the FA for a while. I think he got part of it. I think he even got involved with youth.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but he was massive. He was a massive part of the success of the club, because he was a great negotiator when it came to transfer fees. He was really him and Ferguson were always aligned with what they wanted to do, the type of player they wanted to bring in, the expectations of what needed to be done between negotiations. Like, Ferguson always had that nobody's bigger than the team, no player is going to be bigger than the club, and David Gill agreed with that. So you could see where United never really went after the players that felt that way. Like Ferguson, for example, perfect example was Pogba. He let Pogba leave. Pogba got
yeah.
disgruntled because Ferguson played Raphael, I believe, in the midfield against Blackburn way
Yeah,
back in the day in an FA Cup match or League Cup match, and Pogba didn't like it, and got a little disgruntled, and Ferguson said, listen, he's a young man, but he hasn't even got on the first team yet, and obviously Pogba thought he knew better than Ferguson, left and went to Juventus, which was good
yeah.
for him, but he came back, and Ferguson, like, the same, there's a reason why Ferguson two great managers. Like people might not call Mourinho great manager, but I think he is. He's successful wherever he goes. But both managers, like
Yeah.
Ferguson and Mourinho, both came out and said that Pogba was a cancer. Like Ferguson said he wasn't good enough
Well,
for and Mourinho said the
I
same.
think that anybody with an open mind can say that. I mean, you know,
But I
it
think
is what it is. I mean,
that's
if
where.
multiple people say the same thing, it's probably true about that person, right?
Oh, that's exactly. Well, look at him now. He's banned now because of for performing for
Yeah,
PEDs.
for steroids.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know. He's
So, but
probably playing basketball in Miami with LeBron James on a beach somewhere, right?
yeah, I wouldn't surprise me if he ends up at down there with Messi. In all honesty, in a
Yeah,
few years,
that wouldn't surprise me.
he might get his 4-year suspension. But no, the fact that with the United with the transfer dealings, like you hit the nail on the head. They would look like the problem was Ed Woodward came in. Ed Woodward, he was a banker. He didn't really know football. They didn't replace David Gill with an appropriate person. They didn't put anybody in director of football or even director of operations or football operations. Nothing like that came in. So you had a man who's a banker that's playing with house money, and
Yeah.
he felt like
he was an Excel spreadsheet guy.
exactly. So he went out, he bought players like that. No, the David Moyes era was bad. Let's just be honest. Like
Yeah.
no,
Well, I guess you can say maybe it's a one knock. I guess because that was his hand-picked successor or whatever, and we know how that turned out or whatever. I mean, well, the whole thing from the beginning was a disaster just by not signing any players.
yeah.
But I mean that whole I try to forget about those years.
I know, trust me, so until I was listening to a podcast the other day with Rio Ferdinand, and he said that he knew that United was in trouble under Moyes, but he was trying to support the new manager that was a hand like Ferguson, like you said. But he said that Rio Ferdinand said he knew the United were in trouble with Moyes. They went on a Asia tour, and they're all getting back on the private jet. They're all after a match, after some training sessions and stuff, and they're heading back to Manchester. And he said he walks in there and he looks over and he gets in and you see David Moyes in the manager's suit and he's laying back, eyes closed, and he walked by and he just had to open his eyes and looks up at Ferdinand and he goes, "Oof, that was some terror," something along those lines. He was so exasperated. He almost like he was.
Yeah.
I think he underestimated the massive job, the multitude of the job. And
Yeah.
I think, and this is no disrespect to Everton. Everton's a great club. It's a massive club in terms of
But it's not. It's not Man United.
It's not. No, you're.
It's not at that level.
It's not, and you're also Moyes came in and he's succeeding like one of the best managers of all time, especially 26 years of just trophy after trophy after trophy.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's coming in and granted, Ferdinand admitted he goes, his legs were going, Vidic's legs were going, Giggsy's legs were going, Carrick's legs were going, and but the players they brought in, it wasn't like. That was one thing Ferguson was brilliant at, was that he was able to pick a player that could come in and really refresh the team. Like every year there was always case in point, signing Vidic and Evra back then, especially a January transfer deal for, I think he got Vidic for like 7.8 and Evra from Monaco after he was playing the Champions League final for Monaco. He was just, and Evra was a left winger at one stage, then he turned into left back. It's just the transfer dealings are, like you rightly said, it seems to be an uncaptained ship, they're just going out to the water, just hoping they're going to hit land and
exactly.
Hope it's not an island full of cannibals.
Yeah, like Christopher Columbus. We're just gonna head out and find the new world and see what we stumble upon. There's just no direction. I mean, I would like to think I'm hopeful, with the new leadership coming in. I mean, at least that they care about the club, and but I guess just seeing the same thing over the last 10 years, it's hard to be optimistic. But I guess I am encouraged. I like to see what happens in the off season. I mean, it seems like, there's a dozen or so plus players that are, heading out the door. I know our boy AM9, I don't think he's going to be back, right, D? Our favorite guy.
Jeez, nah. I think, geez, I would personally drive him to the airport if I could.
Yeah,
It was,
I'll call him an Uber,
I
and
think,
I'll buy him a black card too. That's how much I want him out.
nah, Gary Neville said it best. He goes, "There's nothing more frustrating to see a player like Martial that has the talent, that has the ability, that just doesn't impose himself and to, like, or just
Yeah,
put the work in there. Like, and you can clearly see, like, the first introduction that he had to United fans and actually the Premier League was against Liverpool, Brendan Rodgers
yeah.
Liverpool, the 3-1 match, and he
Hmm.
just he's not really loved. He had a good season there under Solskjaer. I think he got into the 20 goal mark, 23, 24 goals or something. But
Yeah, yeah.
he's never.
It's almost like he doesn't love the. I mean, I can't read it as much. It's almost like he doesn't care. Like he's. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words for him. Like you said, the talent's there. He's just not willing to put in the work ethic.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of players like that. Like just off the top of my head, like Dele Alli's been one of them. Dele Alli for Spurs under Pochettino was unbelievable. Like everyone was saying how
Mm.
good he was. He was playing well for England, and all of a sudden, like you said, it was like a switch just went off in a bad way, not in a good way. Someone just turned off the light
Mhm.
switch, and the
Uh,
spark disappeared.
I wonder if it had to, if it started off because he went through that whole mess with his girlfriend and his baby mama or whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't know if they were ever married or whatever. So I know he had some family stuff. I don't know, maybe if that was the impetus that just set it all down the wrong course. Who the hell knows?
Every time I hear someone say that, here's my thing, right? Look at Ryan fucking Giggs. Ryan Giggs was banging away at his sister-in-law for long enough, and he was still performing at the top level, so there's no excuse for that.
Oh, I mean,
Giggs was doing something.
I guess the Welsh are just built differently, right, D?
Well, look at Wazza. Wazza, too, was running around, shagging grannies left and right, but he was still banging in goals for United left and right, so, I mean, like,
I
let's be
just saw
honest.
a picture. I just saw a picture of him the other day. He's aged. I'll say that.
It's bad. Somebody got him dirty the other day. They put a picture up between. They said that like these two men, no one will believe. My children don't believe that these two men are the same age. And it showed you a picture of Cristiano Ronaldo and then a picture of Rennie, and like both of them, like as of this week, and it's just like it looks bad. It's bad for Rennie,
Yeah,
but
he likes his pints.
but at the same time, like he might look what he looks like now, but there's one thing you could never ever question. It was Rennie's desire to play for United and the desire he had for
No,
football in general.
no,
Like,
he's a United legend. I mean, that goes without saying. This is nothing. I can't really say a bad thing about his career there. I mean,
yeah.
it was great from the day he got there.
I scored a hat trick against the Champions League, but with the chat's a perfect example. Just back to the transfer window, like just the dealings that Ferguson did compared to what the dealings now. Like we're signing players for 80+ million, and they're scoring
Yeah,
maybe a handful of goals and getting a handful of assists. And like Harry Maguire was the most it was one of the most
yep,
expensive signings, and like they have to
yeah.
get.
Harry Maguire,
But to be honest, Maguire, he's just an easy scapegoat because he had some big time clangers. But my mindset too is that like he's actually shown a lot more character and a lot more
yes, I will give him that, especially
heart
given
and all that stuff.
how everyone was wondering if he was even going to be on the team at the beginning of this year, but yeah,
Yeah.
I can't knock on him too hard this year.
No, but like, I've said before, like he's not like is he the best defender in the world? No. Is he worth his price tag? No.
Absolutely not.
But at the end of the day, he's working hard. He's going out. He's playing for the club. And like, I've never, to be honest, if you think about it, imagine being given the captain's armband, and then you're captain, and then out of nowhere a new manager comes in and just takes the armband off you and says, "No, you're not only not captain anymore, but you're also not going to start anymore."
Yeah,
For him
that's a
to
hard tell. Yeah,
well, he stuck around.
especially when you get the money. I mean, when you're talking about the amount of money that's involved with him too. Yeah, that's hard on multiple levels.
And he's still has that dark cloud that's going over in Greece. No, but
Yeah,
but you have to give him credit when credit's due. Like he's putting more of an effort, and he seems to actually keep his head down. Granted, outside of the whole Greece situation, he's not. You don't hear anything about him outside of football. You don't hear any like social media postings. Like you said about Martial and his extracurricular activities. But
hmm
nah, the transfer dealings have just been bad. I'm hoping that they bring in somebody like my choice. No, I wish. I'm glad he's doing better now, but Van der Sar would have been the best option to bring in to be just. You wouldn't even if you bring him in as a whole
A
director of
director.
football role because he's CEO
Yeah.
of Ajax. It's title wise, it's a demotion, but bring him in as a
Yeah.
consultant. Like he stepped away from Ajax, and I know his son was playing football out here for Pittsburgh. And got,
Yeah.
So I know he wanted to see him and spend some time with him and stuff. So, but bring him on as a consultant role, like the magic he did with that Ajax team, ironically under Ten Hag, but it shows you that it shows that if Ten Hag might get the support that he needs from above, because right now it's easy to. Like, I don't technically right now. You and I've talked about it. It's clear like we don't know what's going on, but we don't know if that's the manager or is it the players or is it both? Is it the manager trying to put a square peg in a circle hole with his tactics and it's just not working?
I'm gonna have to say it's both because to me, if you're a good manager, yes, you have your tactics and that's your Bible. But if you know that you have players that aren't gonna fit into your system, you gotta change. I don't really care. I think that's what is gonna make a good manager, in my opinion.
No, I agree with that. And I think he had his plans because that's why he was so aggressive going after Frankie de Jong from Barca. I think United had agreed 76 million with Barca, and then Frankie was like, I'm not going to United. I don't want to leave. So, and I don't think he ever had a plan B. And I think the Casemiro one was a head scratcher at first, but then he turned out to be it was a wonder strike in all honesty because he came in, he was brilliant.
He had a great year last year,
Yeah, it was. I think he was part of the Premiership 11. Like he got Team of the Year.
Yeah,
he was on there.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And but then he just like this year's just sort of been. I don't know if it's just different tactics. I don't know. Like I said, it's hard to really pinpoint because there's just so many. No, it's the only way I look at it, it's like a sinking ship with multiple holes letting water in. You have to sort of pick the one that has the biggest hole that keeps the ship afloat, and I think that's what Ten Hag's trying to do at the moment. He's just trying to keep his head above water.
Well, you've been in the locker room. I mean, all right, so obviously, we still have the FA Cup to play for, but if I was a player and knowing where we are, there's no European football. The league is gone. I mean, they might be lucky to hit 60 points this season, as shocking as that is. So it's where's the motivation? I guess is I mean, but you're a professional athlete, and you have to, and you're always playing for your yourself, your club, and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, even you got to be honest. I mean, it's got to be hard to be motivated to play an essentially meaningless match. Well, they're not meaningless because you want to still get in Europe, but I mean, like you said, it's a sinking ship. I mean that locker room can't be fun right now.
Oh no, but definitely it's. I don't think it's been fun for the last few years. I think it's like it's a roller coaster of a locker room at this point in the changing room, like just back there, like. No, they when they win a match, like knocking Liverpool out of the FA Cup was a brilliant match. Like a 7-goal thriller, and you could think that okay, they're going to ride that momentum going forward, and then the next match it was a stinker against Brentford.
Yeah,
so it's like
you revert right back to what you are.
Yeah, and granted, I did say this. I was texting JP about this before that match. He asked, he was asking me, how do you think they're going to do against Brentford? And I said, my biggest worry here is that Brentford don't have as many internationals as United. I'm not calling it an excuse of how bad they were because that's just no. But I did say my worry there is there's a lot of internationals. They're going to be doing a lot of traveling during the international break, where Brentford don't have as many internationals getting called up, so therefore their players are able to rest up, see the physio, do the right thing, eat the right thing.
They're gonna be fresh.
Exactly, and also they're not. Some of them might be able to do a couple of training sessions here and there without the manager, and really get the tactics going, really get mentally prepared for it. Where United players were returning back to Manchester on like the Thursday and stuff, and like Friday, and then the match was that Saturday. So whatever that weekend. So I always knew that was going to be bad, but I didn't expect it to be that bad. But there's no excuse now because it's been bad. Because the match against Brentford was god awful. 31 shots, again, Brentford outworked them. They covered more distance. Liverpool first half, it literally was like watching an early round 3 FA Cup match, like a Premier League team against a League 2 team. It was bad. Liverpool were literally absolutely just fucking dicking United all over that pitch. Like it should have been 4-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
And I think of Anana credit, like he's also been a scapegoat, but to face as many shots as he has and he's not conceding, like he's made a couple of brilliant saves against Bournemouth. He's made a couple of brilliant saves at Liverpool. He did the same against Brentford. Like he's made some really, has he had some clangers? Has he probably almost single-handedly responsible for the Champions League fallout? Probably, but I think he's another man you can put up over Harry Maguire for showing decent character because as a goalkeeper, like it's not about making a brilliant save over and over again. It's when you can make a mistake, but then pick your head up and keep playing the match and keep trying to make yourself better. It's easy to always fall into the whole self-pity mindset. Well,
Yeah.
mistake, but he honestly hasn't really done that. But it's hard to really understand. Being a United fan is like being on a roller coaster. We'll get the eyes of beating knocking Liverpool in the FA Cup and then possibly ending their title run, but then you've got matches where we should have been beat with Brentford. I think the post four times, hit the crossbar in the post 4 times. Then had a couple of great saves. Like we got a dodgy penalty to take away a point from a losing position. And then, but if you look at the Chelsea match, it was just that's just a match I want to forget.
That was yeah.
That was like Sunday morning pub league stuff. Like just not paying attention.
Yeah.
Up 3-2 in the 90th minute and then throwing 2 goals away.
Yeah. I was reading an article earlier today or the other day, and I saw this stat, and it kind of blew me. I mean, we all watch it, and we know how bad it is, but this article I read, it basically there was a stat that said Ten Hag's side has faced more shots on goal than any side in all of Europe's top 5 leagues in 2024. It's worse than rock bottom Sheffield and newcomer Luton Town. Like that's how bad it's been. I guess just reading it like that really it's just kind of not that we needed any verification, but it was just verification on how bad things are.
No. Like I usually don't like think of stats and look at stats as being like an indication how
I don't
bad
either.
a team
But
is.
I just saw that and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's terrible.
Yeah. No, it does, and that's the thing. Like I usually don't like to use stats that show an indication how bad a team is, but those stats are absolutely fucking spot on because United are been absolutely abysmal. Like and the fact it's not surprising Sheffield United and like they're battling relegation and Luton Town are just trying to also stay up in the Premier League. So they're actually
you shouldn't even be in the same conversation as those when it's especially as like we talked about earlier. The what's probably the total budget for a team like Sheffield and Luton Town compared to us, one of the wealthiest clubs in the world? We shouldn't even be in the same conversation.
Oh no, sure. There was even like people thinking that Luton Town wouldn't even host a match because the stadium's not up to standards of like the likes of like Old Trafford and Anfield and the Empty-Head and all that kind of stuff. So, but even with that though, I'm sure like I don't even think City.
Nice drop there. I heard that, by the way. The Empty-Head.
Of course, Man City fans couldn't even fill Luton Stadium if they wanted to. Like, and as small as that stadium is, they still couldn't fill it. These bastards. But no, but the whole transfer dealings, like, you can clearly see, like you rightly said, you want a manager that's going to go out, like, I hate to say it, but Pep Guardiola, it took him a little bit to get established at Man City, but he went and got players to come in. And he's also not a man that seems to really care if he hurts someone's feelings. Like, he told Cancelo to fuck off.
Yeah.
And,
pound sand.
Yeah, and then, good one that pretty much won them the FA Cup. See you later, off to Barca. But the reason why he's able to do that is because he literally has a plan. He has players that are able to fill in that role. That he knows that his tactics and his philosophy won't alter if he lets a player go. Where I feel like at United, I don't know if Ten Hag has that ability to be able to sit there and just chop and change a team or bring a player in that fits his philosophy. Because right now that. You rightly said.
Based off of what we're seeing, it hasn't come to fruition. I can tell you that much.
Like I get the Onana, so we can break down his transfer just for this season because he came second last year. They won the League Cup. They got the FA Cup final, and no, they should have, honestly, they should have went further in the Europa League. They should have been
Yeah.
4-0 up against
Yeah,
Sevilla
that,
and drew 2 each at
yeah,
home.
yeah.
So that match was, and then getting absolutely battered then 3-0 away. But it was a good season overall, like considering what we're going through in the whole Ralph the RR season.
Yeah, Ralph Rangnick.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ralph.
like the biggest scratcher for me, like I know why he brought him in, because there's a reason. Like everyone said, oh, De Gea shouldn't have got let go. De Gea should have stayed. He's a legend. Like De Gea made some brilliant saves. Like he's an agile as a cat, but his biggest
Yeah.
weakness was his feet. He couldn't distribute the ball that well from his feet, and teams knew that. So teams and teams would press the shit out of United, and he would just kick it long. And then what happens, because United try to play out of the back, they're so far back that they're keeping everyone on side and they're giving goals away left and right. So Onana coming in, Onana can ping a ball around. He's got good distribution there. Granted, he's had a couple of clangers, but that one I can understand.
Yeah, I remember his first game. I can't remember the exact play, but I remember him having some kind of blunder, I guess it was just kind of a telltale sign of what to expect for the rest of the season as a whole.
No, it was. Like, I can't remember. It was a preseason match in Dublin.
He got off to a rough start. I know that.
He got lobbed from lobbed from almost the halfway line in a preseason match in Dublin. And it was sort of like, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He's dropped. He's still trying to get action. So I know it is what it is. But then, like, what the fuck and where the fuck is Malacia? I genuinely have no clue where the man is. He's disappeared fast in a fart in the wind. Like, I don't know where. I don't know. Did he get him? Like, what happened?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he was on P Diddy's jet. I have no idea, man. I got nothing for you on that. I don't have a clue. I have no clue.
He just disappeared, and the fact that no one's even questioning Ten Hag saying his like, where is he? So granted he was only 13 million, I think, from Feyenoord, but he's gone. So like he came in with some big promise, but then you got Luke Shaw that has, like, I think the stat on him was he's been at United 10 years and he's missed over 200 matches. So he's averaging 20 matches a season. That isn't going to that's not going to, like, not when you have players that that likes of.
I like Shaw. I think there was a couple, obviously the injuries, and I remember we used to make fun. Not that I can make fun of everybody. I'm a walking meatball, but remember that beat shot you sent me of him, and we were like, "Is that Luke Shaw?"
Yeah, no, and he's like, no, it is, and unfortunately, I think he's got like the Wayne Rooney physique. Like Rooney was never, Rooney was never walking around with a 6-pack or anything like that, but Rooney still actually, he put on the effort. But then you've got, and he broke his ankle as well, and that sort of put him back a bit. But the fact that United, the transfer dealings, they had Reguilón coming from, he was on loan from Spurs, and then they terminated his loan early in January because Shaw was coming back. But who and under God thought, okay, Shaw's coming back, we're sorted now left back, but then did no one decide to look up his stats and realise the man's almost missed 200 matches in 10 years and thinking this man's going to take us from January to May? Like, why not just hold on to Reguilón for the rest of the season? Because now we're playing Aaron Wan-Bissaka, left back, who's never played left back in his career, and you've got Dalot playing right back, and Ten Hag, his tactics with Dalot, he's trying to do this Pep Guardiola, Kyle Walker situation where Kyle Walker goes under the midfield and centre midfield and becomes an extra midfielder. But what's going on is that you've got Garnacho set up to be a counter-attack right winger using his speed. So Garnacho's always going to cheat. He's not going to come back all the time. He's not going to track the left back. He's always going to cheat, hoping that, okay, if we win the ball, I'm going to be the first outlet to get this counter-attack goal. So you've got Dalot in the midfield and you've got Garnacho high up right. So you've got this massive void.
You got a gigantic hole
on the right side, and then you've got the French version of Chris Smalling and Varane, because every time I look at Varane, he looks like he runs on ice, and his best years are definitely behind him. And then you've got Victor Lindelof is another man he's slot on right back, he's played centre back, he's even played centre midfield.
He's been all over
injured.
The place.
I don't know, he's injured again, so I don't know if they need to look at, like, maybe they just start getting test the water over there to see if there's something in the water at Old Trafford. But you've got no backup at right back because Dallo is the right back, but then if he gets injured, they will have
Mhm.
Wan-Bissaka. Okay, if they Wan-Bissaka was left back for the right back,
Yeah.
but then who plays left back? So then what's going on?
I
Like, okay, Lindelof, you play right back. Okay, well, no, Lindelof's injured. So there's
Yep.
right now, like I mentioned there, Pep Guardiola has, Klopp's got it. Like, he's got all these different kind of, like, he's got players to fit a philosophy.
Yeah, they got,
doesn't.
play pieces on the chessboard.
Yeah. So,
We don't have any of that.
and the thing is, like, I'm definitely no UEFA A licensed manager or FIFA or whatever. Like, but all these managers he's going up against, they're not like the Premiership isn't the Premiership of old, where you've got like the Alan Curbises of the world, or Alan Pardews going around headbutting people, and
Yeah.
the Steve Bruces of the world, fucking Sam Allardyce walking about the place just picking up a job for a paycheck. You've got really good managers coming in, and they don't get the respect they deserve because they're not from England. So therefore, they're like, oh no, he's not that good of a manager, and like
Yeah.
look at the league.
Oh.
Sevilla manager, he's manager Aston Villa, Jonathan.
Oh yeah.
He's been
Jeez.
manager, Arsenal manager. Look at he just did. Look at he did Arsenal.
Yeah.
Arsenal haven't lost a match in 2024.
Emery.
Yeah, Emery.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
So he's come in Villa, and he's actually took Villa now to be almost like right on the cusp of Champions League. So and he's been very, very good in his transfer dealings. Where like United, like you rightly said, they're buying players based on names. Like Varane seemed like a great signing, but it's like the age-old saying.
When we brought him in, I was excited. I was, but he's an older player. It's not working out.
Well, it's just like he's not hungry. Like you think of, he's won everything. He's won the World Cup. He's won the Champions League. He's won the La Liga. He's won the Copa del Rey. He's won everything. So my mindset's like, okay, well, what is he? No, he's coming to United now, and he's definitely not the Varane of old. And I remember United tried to sign him when he was at Lyon before he went to
Younger, yeah.
But I thought, there we go, we've got a good partner for McGuire, Martinez coming in. But then obviously you think about it, you're like, well, it's like the business mindset is that nobody sells a successful business because a successful business makes you money, right? So nobody sells a player at the top of their talent. Nobody sells a player when they're actually at their peak unless an offer this is water and comes to you. You know what I mean? Like life changing money for the club kind of mindset. United, for example, United sold Ronaldo back in the day for 80 million to Real Madrid. That was the time, was a record deal.
Madrid. Yeah.
So, but you've got United now going out and spending that same sort of money on players that are past their best, like the Varans, the Casemiros, like they're great, but like, do they really fit into Eric Ten Hag's philosophy? Based on what I've seen at Ajax, nah.
No,
they don't. They're
also, they're especially Casim. I mean, we all noticed it at the very beginning of this year. It looked like his fitness level and his legs are. It looks like they're getting close to done. I mean, yeah, he just doesn't look like his fitness levels or his legs have been there all year.
Nah, unfortunately not. But it's hard to. Right now that the fact that is he the top goal scorer? Is he second top? I think he's joint second or whatever. It's Scott McTominay. The fact that a centre holding midfielder, centre midfielder, or whatever position is currently up there with goals. But you spent 70+ million on Højlund, and I do like Højlund. He was brilliant in the Champions League because he had freedom to play, but in the Premiership, teams just know now, like they know Ten Hag's tactics, and he's not adjusting. So the transfer window this summer, so with good old Cliff coming in and taking 25% stake and taking over all operation, football and operations of it. I think Ten Hag. I think that if you were talking about the FA Cup semi-final, and if they want to win a cup, to the players, like, this will be the true test of the players really want them there, because I'm reading articles and I'm hearing rumblings that some of the players are unwilling to sign extensions to their contracts because.
Yeah, no, I saw that tweet earlier today as well, and
because
I guess if I was putting myself in their shoes, I could understand why. One, they don't know if they're going to be there, or you don't know who your manager is going to be. So there's really no, why am I drawing a blank on the word? There's no direction of the club right now.
No, and so that's the thing that good old Ed Woodward, that was a premise that he put in place, was that he stupidly came out a few years ago saying, we're Manchester United, we have the money to spend. So every agent that had an average footballer as a client turned around and said, there you go, there's your opportunity. So here's the thing, United right now is the way I would describe the way I think agents in the world of football look at United is that it's a place for your career to die, but your bank account to grow.
Yeah, you're gonna get wealthy, but you probably in the last 10+ years, you're not winning much. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, like exactly. So it's a shame for like Bruno has been a brilliant service. Is he captain material? I don't think so. I don't think Maguire's captain material. I don't think anyone on that team.
No.
I think if I was to give it to somebody, I would give it to Mini.
Yeah, no. If I'm being I mean, I like Bruno. I mean, this year hasn't been the best for him. I think he's had some good seasons for us, but captain material, I'm not. Honestly, I don't know if we have a captain on the team right now. If I'm being 100% honest, I don't know if I would give the armband to anyone right now.
I don't know. I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. Maybe Kobe Mini might get it. She's even Garnacho.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 18 years old, so. But yeah, you never know.
Yeah, you never know, because at the end of the day, like it's sometimes the actions speak louder than the words. Like as the good old United saying goes, if you're good enough, you're old enough mindset. So if you're good enough to be a captain, you're old enough to be a captain. So
well, yeah, I mean, it is nice to see continuing the tradition bringing up youngsters in the club, especially with Mano. What are they? I think was it like 90,000? Yeah, was it like 9? I'll have to go back and check Twitter.
I don't know.
I think it was.
I do understand.
Because I think he's on 20,000 a week now. I don't know if they're gonna bump him up to 90 or not. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and check Twitter.
Well, I think one of the biggest problems in United right now is that Kobe Mini is a well sought after little player. Like he's got the Sharks like Real Madrid and the PSGs of the world, even the Bayern Munichs will be snuffing around him. And no, they're trying to probably think, okay, this is a player for the future, so we need to go ahead and set the foundation now and not have a whole drawn out process of trying to get a player in there that either he wants to be or he's not. But if he wants to be there, like reward him because of not his performance, but you want a player that actually it's been through the club.
Yeah, that wants to be at the club. Yeah. That is I mean, ultimately at the end of the day, I always understand. It's a business at the end of the day, and I try not to fault players too much, for taking the money. But I mean, you also want that player there that's going to be loyal to your club.
No, 100%. And I think that's where Kobe Manu can come into it, because he's been at the club since he was 9. Granted, that's half his life, which is crazy to think about. He's spent half his life at the club. So, and as I mentioned earlier in the show here, that United definitely need to thank a lot of the coaching staff down in the younger ages for really developing the talent that they have. Like Garnacho came from Atletico Madrid for I think 200,000 or 300,000 back a few years back, but they've definitely molded some of the players that the likes of Kobe Manu and Garnacho, both have come on and just look United up when they needed the most.
Yeah, and that's probably, at least for me, one of the most frustrating things is like, you always hear about some of the teams, baseball or whatever is there's nobody in the farm system or whatever. It's like we don't seem excuse me. We don't seem to have that problem. It's just all the senior players that suck.
It seems like it does. It seems like the players you want to be the mentors. Or
the bad cancers in the locker room. They're not mentors.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And that's the big. So that was the biggest thing that the Uniteds of old had, was they had the old guard, but the old guard were not only, they weren't old by name or just by
well, they were maybe veterans, I guess, is the right one.
So they were mentored. They literally mentored the younger players that came through. They established the minimum requirement that needed to be a United player, and if they couldn't,
they established a standard.
Yeah,
and if you didn't meet that standard, get the fuck off the team.
And and I don't think have any of that right now. Right now, you've got a captain and Bruno that I think he means well, but I do agree with what Solskjaer came out and said, well, old gunner Solskjaer came out and gave an interview and said that where he thought it went wrong for him, he said one was the Ronaldo transfer. Again, the transfer, the debacle that is the transfer window for United. They just don't seem to have a clear plan.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and
Bring it. Yeah.
I do think that Man City, I said this before in a group chat that we had, the WhatsApp group chat, that I feel like Man City play United like a fiddle sometimes in terms of transfers. I mean, a few years ago, Man City came out and said they were interested in Fred, um,
Mm-hmm.
and they were going to buy Fred from Shakhtar Donetsk, and all of a sudden United went in and spent 50 something million on him, and then Man City were like, oh no, he's not worth that much. So they took a step back,
Yeah.
and then United got
Wow.
in,
Yeah.
and I think they did the same with Ronaldo. The rumors that Ronaldo was going to Man City. uh,
Yeah.
That he was going there, and like all of a sudden all that rumors, and I think it was like, I think they were honestly just, I think they were just
The
messing with
problem.
United.
I mean, I honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
That's it. I know it's a big conspiracy. I
yeah.
know it's just fun.
No, yeah. I don't get. I love a good conspiracy theory. I mean, I could believe it. I mean, do you trust anybody in that front office to make wise decisions?
Nah, I don't. But with Solskjaer, what I was mentioning with his interview was that he said Ronaldo was the one of the main. He's not going to say the biggest problem, but he said he was definitely one of the problems. But he also said that he was mentioning captains and why he made Maguire captain, and he gave his reasons. He said he just came in and they just felt like he was going to be. Um, and that was another player that Man City were talking about going after was Maguire. And I think maybe one of the things that got United over the line with Maguire was I think they guaranteed him captaincy in his contract. And I think that was one he signed for United over City. I think they give him probably a little bit more money, but also guaranteed him captaincy. So he was like, well, if I have to have him the captain, that means I'm guaranteed to play. So therefore, if I go to City, I'm not captain. No, they have Ruben Diaz
Yeah.
there, they have John Stones there.
Yeah.
I'm,
I'm just get in line.
exactly. Where United, they make him the main man. So Solskjaer brought him on main captain, but one thing I agree with him, what he said about Bruno, he said Bruno, great player, uh, uh, but he felt like he was too emotional to be the captain. And I agree with that. And like, when people try to say,
Yeah.
well, look,
Yeah.
they're all saying, well, look at the United captains of old. Look at the Brian Robsons and the Bobby Charltons and the Roy Keane, especially Roy Keane. He was and the Wayne Rooney was captain for a while, and no, he was always emotional. But I think what Solskjaer wasn't saying emotional in the sense that no, they get angry or whatever. But I think he just meant that like I think Bruno is one of those men that can't hold it, and like he wears his emotions on his sleeve.
Yeah. Sensitive.
Yeah, and well, I think it's not just a little sensitive, but I think when he wears his emotions on his sleeve, I don't think that he even realizes, but it reverberates around the team. If you see your captain throwing his arms up and throwing himself on the floor and running after the referee and check,
Yeah.
you're going to start thinking, well, if he's doing, geez, I'm going to start doing it and all that kind of stuff. Whereas a real captain is going to turn around and like, no, I have to work on it. I always refer back to it because it was a match that always been significant, like just is connected in my brain. But Roy Keane against Juventus in the Champions League in 1999, got booked, loses lost the final, but scores a header, or flicks on a header at the near post. And whether he set the precedent down, like people don't even realize they talk about great players and like Zidane and stuff. Roy Keane was playing against Zidane that match, and he literally
Yeah.
mentioned Zidane's name. And all I kept saying was King. So like right there's an example of a
Yep.
true captain. Like he could have let his emotions get the better.
Exactly.
He
Lead
could have
by example.
he could have started feeling sorry for himself. He could have started like feeling exasperated because he knows he's gonna if they do one they're gonna miss the final. No, at that time too, what was mad, they were actually when he got booked, United were getting bit. United were on their way out.
Yeah.
And then he scores the goal, and then good old Yorkie and Cole went up, and
Yeah.
good old Andrew Cole ended up just destroying Juventus and was full speed
The rest.
Barcelona, but
The rest
but
is history.
exactly. But the transfer dealings don't help. I think the Anthony Simon was a panic buy. I think Ten Hag wanted him. There's some rumblings that United sent their scouts to go watch him prior to buying him. Ten Hag, they were just like, they didn't rate him as 80 million, but I think Ten Hag convinced Murtaugh. And I think that's where Murtaugh fell on the sword for him. I think Murtaugh supported
Yeah.
the manager because that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to support the manager. He wanted to set his precedent that he wants to make sure that he's going to right the ship. He's going to fix things. And I think at that point where they're investing crazy money, and it's to the point where you're not really getting your ROI on it now. You're sitting back on West Ham and Newcastle for being 7th and 8th and 6th and 7th and 8th in the league instead of being up and challenging.
Yeah,
Like, here's a sad stat. Liverpool could lose every single fucking match the rest of the season, and United could win all the rest of their league matches, and United would still finish behind Liverpool.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
That's the gulf. And I think people try to say you don't want to compare yourself, but at the end of the day, that's your rivals. You have to try to sit there, like, you know, not get Liverpool off their perch, and they don't need to be falling back in that hole again. But the transfer dealings, we'll see. I would like to see a really good structure coming, but I don't think Ratcliffe is going to trust Ten Hag based on what he's saying right now, based on the players not supporting him, which is good.
It's hard. It's hard too. I mean, I think the writing's on the wall. Writing's on the wall, regardless of what happens in the FA Cup. At least in my opinion, and I think it's time to change.
Unfortunately, I think
As much as I hate doing that, because I always like, continuity and, giving a manager a chance to succeed, but it's, I haven't seen anything to make me, all right, maybe he can turn it around with a new team coming in. I just don't see any. I don't really see anything to be positive about, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, and it's a shame too, because I do think he is a good manager. I just don't think that. I think he also underestimated, which a lot of managers do. I think they underestimate not only the job at United, but also the Premier League in general. I don't know. It's one of the only leagues. They only now implemented the whole Christmas break kind of thing, but the tenacity that's involved, the demand that comes along with it, and then United being who they are, results. It's a result-run business. You have to get results. If you don't get results, you're not going to be in the business for very long. That's important. It's just unfortunate at this point where for Ten Hag, like Solskjaer was in the same position. Solskjaer came second. Ten Hag got third. They both Solskjaer got the final. Ten Hag got a final. Ten Hag won a cup. But the trajectory is on the way up.
Yeah, and then was it 2 years ago? God Almighty, this cough. What was it? Was it 58 points? I think we had in that god awful season under Solskjaer.
Yeah, it was bad. It was a bad one. So
that's where we're trending right now.
Yeah, no, and that so like I said, like Klopp had his season at Liverpool when he was down in the 6th, 7th region, but he went in there and he made sure to get the right players in there, and he got rid of the other players that didn't. And he did a lot with a little, and I think Ten Hag has done a lot with a little. But the problem is now is that he brought in players that just aren't doing it for him. Like Anthony's always the one that sticks out for me. Hoyland's not the answer. Unfortunately, but even if they went after Harry Kane, for example, if Harry Kane would have came on, I think he would do more for United.
No, No, I don't. There needs. This team just needs so much. It's not just one player. I mean, they need a lot more than just Harry Kane or whatever. They need a lot.
And we went through this as a fan base, as a club. United went through the whole. Let's try the superstars. We signed Falcao, Di Maria. They got one season under Van Gaal. Falcao, Di Maria, Schneiderlin.
Yep.
Shaw came in that year, and you think like, all right, United's got a solid squad now. Like they definitely have a team that can compete. Like they've done well, and that's just went back to square one again. And United at this point, are they going to become the new Chelsea, where it's just every 2 years they rotate the manager, or are they going to go ahead and say, okay, let's give Ten Hag the foundation to be a solid manager and support him in the right way, not support him in like just give him a blank checkbook, but support him in a way of like setting up a really good scout network, setting up
exactly from the foundation.
Yeah, having the full, because one thing I would love to know is, as a club, you always, like, for the younger players, and I guess what I mentioned about Manu and Garnacho, is that as a club, you always want to hear the academy is playing the same tactics and they're doing the same philosophy as the first team, because that makes it a seamless transition for them to go from like you under 18s, 19s, 20s, 21, the reserves, and then straight into the team. Like there's not much of a learning curve for them,
There's
because
not a learning,
because they've been learning it for months,
forever.
years, whatever. Are they doing that because I find like the under 18s, no, they're really successful. The under 21s have been brilliant. Like, geez, even the fucking women's team has been brilliant. So like,
Yeah, I know. Hey, let's celebrate on that.
I know exactly. Like, I mean, the women's team just battered Chelsea there. So
Yeah.
and you have to sort of question, is the club really going in the right direction as a whole? And let's just take the first team out of it. Like we know they're not going anywhere fast, but is the club making the right decisions from within to be successful? So like we mentioned earlier, like do they have the philosophy and the tactics, the technical awareness, the tactics implemented that way? We have another Kobe Manu coming up next season. We have another Garnacho on the wings, so therefore we do have somebody that say Anthony leaves. Oh, okay, well we put Garnacho 100% on the right wing. Rashford, if PSG come for 75 million, I'll take him on the ball. And then you have another player that slots on the left wing.
I could have him for 15 as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think the only problem is I don't know if Rashford would take it, just because the fact I don't know of the cafeteria setup for schools in France. So I'm sure I don't think Rashford would be able to sit there and become cafeteria man of the year over there where he was over in England during COVID. So I mean, it was a good cause, but it seems to me at this point like he went from wanting to be a politician and doing great, but all of a sudden chartering a private jet over to Belfast to take a bunch of Sambuca shots today 5 a.m. So don't make your mind
It
up.
seems like he not saying that he's not talented, but he seemed like he let his ego get to him a little bit. I was like, all right, pump your brakes a little bit here. You're good, but what have you really done here to be like on that level? You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, agree. And like Gary Neville did a whole thing about the fact that one of the hardest decisions he ever made as a person, like, and this isn't even football related, was he was in school when he was 16 and he was told he was going to make it at Man United. He was going to be signed for Man United and he was going to become like an apprentice type player. And he made the hard decision to say, I'm going to distance myself from the midst the fellas that hangs out with. Like he's known them for years, for like his life and more. And the reason he did that was because, and he says he regrets it now to this very day, because I shouldn't have done that. But he goes, I was so invested in my career and I wanted to be a Man United player and I wanted to become a professional footballer that I knew there were sacrifices that have to be made. And I don't think these players now don't, because like Rashford was back in Belfast hanging out with his mate that he's known for years, that plays for like a long or something. So you sort of, if you want to be successful, you sort of surround yourself with the right kind of mindset people that are
Exactly.
looking for your best interests.
Exactly. Well, we've been going about an hour now, so I think that we've reached a good place to wrap it up. This has been fun, man. I'm looking forward to the next one.
No, definitely, yeah. I definitely enjoyed it. As I said, I think there's enough to talk about United for 3 lifetimes.
Definitely not. God almighty, this cough. Thank God for editing, right, D?
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Biggie and the Smallz podcast. We will be doing this at least once a week, maybe twice a week if we're feeling up to it. Remember to tune in for all things Theater of Dreams, and we will talk to you next week.